What's happening, Hardscapers? This is episode 229 of the How to Hardscape podcast, where we talk about how you can start and grow your hardscaping business. And on today's episode, I went to HNA this past week, Hardscape North America in Louisville, Kentucky. And I just wanted to talk about my experience there, what we got up to, and our decision to go, as well as I also interviewed very briefly a handful of hardscapers that we've already had on the podcast, just asking them why they go to HNA each year or however often that they actually go to HNA, and very consistent theme with each and every one of them. But before we get into today's episode, we want to thank our sponsor, Cycle CPA. If you're looking for bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, reach out to Cycle CPA at cyclecpa.com. Let them know How to Hardscape sent you for $200 off their services there. And we actually got to meet Joe from Cycle CPA while we were at HNA there. And if you're looking for a software to help streamline processes in your business, How to Hardscape headquarters can help you through budgeting, estimating, having a CRM, time tracking, scheduling, and so much more. As well as if you are looking to get into hardscaping, we have hardscape training courses, 3-hour courses on installing interlocking concrete pavement, segmental retaining wall systems, and tests to go along with those courses, as well as many more resources available at members.howtohardscape.com to help you get started with your hardscape and hardscape business. And those courses are also available to software users as well. So you can find out more about that at members.howtohardscape.com or message me at howtohardscape on Instagram to book a demo for that. We do have some plans next year for this, for breaking apart our training resources from our software. So they will be 2 separate signups for that, with a price increase for those. But if you sign up before the end of the year, you'll get everything, including the software and training resources, as well as more updates in the future for the software and those extra training resources that we'll continue to publish. The idea with those is to use them to onboard and train your employees as well. So a lot of changes coming in the new year for this, as well as when you sign up, you're locked in on your pricing. We will not increase it with more new features coming out. But for new users, whatever you sign up at is what you're locked in at, and we will be increasing the price come the new year. So it's never a bad time to sign up for the How to Hardscape headquarters software. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Okay, HNA. I did not have any plans to actually go this year. And then on Sunday night, my wife and I decided, let's hop in the car and let's go. We booked an Airbnb. We brought our 2 dogs with us, and we drove down 9 hours to get to HNA Tuesday late at night. And so Wednesday was a half day at HNA from 12 to 5, and Thursday was a long, full day full of events all the way until the evening. And then we did go for breakfast on Friday morning. So starting with Wednesday, we got there, we checked in. I wanted to go to really meet and put a face to the Instagram handle, the name, or the Zoom interviews that I've done for 4 years now with the podcast, to be able to meet people that I've talked to online for 4 years, as well as to meet the vendors and new vendors and to make connections with that. So I had a very specific game plan as to who I wanted to meet and the vendor booths that I wanted to go to while I was there. Except I didn't really have a lot of time to plan that. So I kind of had that all in my head, and that led to a lot more walking around than I probably should have done. As well as I didn't have time to really plan what content I wanted to shoot while I was there. I did get a few videos that we'll be releasing on the I Am a Hardscaper YouTube channel, which will be cool to check out. Hopefully this week I'll be publishing 2 videos from our time at HNA there. But Wednesday was more about getting a lay of the land. It is a big show. We do have Landscape Ontario Congress, where we are located, very close to where we're located. And that is about, I want to say, half the size of the indoor area that HNA is. Maybe a little bit less. And HNA, or Equip, this expo, is broken up into the landscaping portion, a small hardscape portion, though it's not too small, And then they added a west wing, which we didn't realize till that last day there, and we checked out, which also has more hardscape, it seems. And then a large outdoor area for demos and to play around with equipment, which is probably the coolest thing about this show. And I didn't have any time to actually play on the equipment. Thursday was a larger day. Thursday morning, we went to the morning show that Naylor Taliaferro at LCR Media puts on there. And that is 3 back-to-back podcasts recorded. So they had Naylor went first with his LCR Media podcast. And then Caleb Amon of Key Contractor Podcast went next. And then finally, Paul Jameson of the Green Industry Podcast went after that. I did get a question in for Caleb's podcast. My joke didn't quite land for that, but I did get to ask a question with 10 seconds remaining to them and did get a quick answer from Caleb there on what's the worst piece of advice that you've ever been given or good advice at the wrong time in your business. And that was my question there. And then we explored the floor. So from about 9:30 till about 4:30, we walked around this convention center and got to meet a lot of great people. Wednesday night, we did go out for dinner, and I got to meet a lot of hardscapers at the dinner, and that was a really nice evening. We packed it up pretty early and prepared ourselves for the next morning there. So that brings us to the morning show, and then walking around the convention center, meeting lots of people there on the floor, just running into people, and also being able to meet vendors. Not much to say from this, just learning about new products on the market. One thing that stands out, because I love my Grabos, that handheld vacuum unit, they do have a high flow model coming out in the new year, and that is going to be specifically for those dry cast pavers that the Grabos are really not meant for. And this attachment is just going to go on the existing Grabo, and it's going to allow you to pick up dry cast porous products, which is going to be really cool. That's scheduled to launch, I think, in February, they were saying. I got a demo from the guys at the Romex booth, which was really awesome. The Trass bed, got to see how that was installed. And for the most part, not a lot of new products that I really got to spend a lot of time with. A lot of these things I've seen at least online before. And it was more so just about meeting people, I would say, for that full day. And seeing as many vendors as possible there, which is a theme of this whole thing, is the community portion. And you'll hear when we do air the interviews, the very short interviews that I did, and I ask every hardscaper that's been on the podcast that I met, what is the reason why you come to HNA? And it's because of the community. And we then went out for a event at Zeppa's that they put on, and it was a great hardscape panel that they had up there. And I also got to ask a question. What was one time in their business that they felt this was not my finest hour? Subtly plugging the Not Our Finest Hour podcast there. And it was just a great time at that event, and being able to also meet more hardscapers that I didn't get to meet at the show. We got to play some games as well there, some mini putt challenge that Groundwork put on for some bourbon, and some ping pong. Just an overall great time at Zeppa's there. And then finally, that brings us to the final morning where we went for breakfast, the Bro Life breakfast. Everybody there, most of them I'd already met, but it was just a nice time to be able to fellowship with everyone and say our goodbyes, take some videos as well, which you'll hear everyone that's been on the podcast before that was at that breakfast. I asked that question to them coming up here about why they come to HNA. And then that brings me just to why I went to the show. I went to just for the community, really. Anything at Equip or HNA, you can seek out yourself in your local area. There's more than likely some sort of expo or some sort of conference that's not too far away from you. They can make the trip to, which is a much shorter trip likely than going to Kentucky, at least for us. You can ask for demos of equipment from the manufacturers. You can seek out anything that you can that's at this conference, at least the physical products and new things. You can ask for demos, you can seek out these conferences, but what you can't get is a conglomeration of everybody coming into Kentucky for this convention and to be able to see so many familiar faces, or to just meet people if you're just starting out in this community. And it was great that people came up to me and got to meet them, and they've been following online, or I've been following them. Just being able to put a face to the handle was just a great experience, and I wouldn't have been able to do that elsewhere. That was the one time of the 1 year where most people try to make the trip down, and that is the reason why I wanted to go. And it's a very consistent theme throughout everybody that I ask why they come to HNA, that they come for the community. And that just brings me to me and myself. I know I'm an introvert, and if I was going to a conference like this, I would likely, if it wasn't for the podcast and me putting myself out there with this and the YouTube channel and all that, I would likely be less talkative. I likely wouldn't go up to people and introduce myself. Not that I even did during this trip, only to familiar faces for the most part. And if I saw you, if you saw me, and we didn't get a chance to introduce ourselves, that just comes back down to at least my nature. But I'm trying to, with this podcast, with the YouTube channel, put myself out more, to get myself out of my comfort zone more, to be able to refine myself and to learn more skills and so on there. So I do challenge anybody and everybody to do the same. And when you're at these conferences, try to introduce yourselves, try to get out of your comfort zone. And if you don't already have a YouTube channel for your hardscape landscape business, start one. And even if it's uncomfortable at first, start to get that ball rolling, because it's going to help you, your skills, but also it's going to make you a little bit more willing to talk to people, to get out of your comfort zone, and it just starts with talking to that camera, which is definitely an awkward thing to do at first, but you'll get used to it and you'll get that ball rolling. Same thing with a podcast, same exact thing. I started this podcast to refine my speaking skills, to meet people that I know otherwise I likely would not meet because of just my nature. So that is just my little ramble there about this podcast, my YouTube channel, why I started it, but also to say that if we didn't meet at HNA, if we did see each other but we didn't introduce each other, just goes back to my nature. I'm definitely an introvert, and even though it doesn't look like it, it's just because when I'm talking to people that I've been talking with for 4 years, especially through interviews, and I know them well, it's a lot easier for me to talk to them. But for those people that I've never met before, it's definitely a little bit harder for me, even still, to talk to those people. So even though I've got this podcast, you hear me talking, and I've got a YouTube channel that I'm fairly comfortable with now, talking to a camera, doesn't mean that translates to in person just yet. So if I didn't get a chance to talk to you, to introduce myself, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to get over that, and we'll definitely talk and meet and be able to shake hands at a future event. And feel free to get out of your comfort zone and come up to and introduce yourself to me. I definitely don't bite, so in the future we'll definitely talk more. And I just wanted to say that because I didn't want there to be anybody out there that saw me or I saw them and we didn't shake hands or anything and feel like I was avoiding you or something. Once again, the reason why I come to HNA is this community, to be able to meet people. So I'm looking forward to more of these events and to more of these in-person events. And as you can likely hear, my voice is shot. I need some rest from all that talking I did these past few days here. So I just want to take a break from today's episode to talk about our sponsor, Cycle CPA. You may have a CRM or project management software in place, but what data are you using to ensure your estimating is accurate? Having a proper accounting setup and accurate bookkeeping done is key to understanding overhead expenses and other costs that must be recouped in your estimates. Cycle CPA is a remote bookkeeping and CFO firm that helps to connect the dots from the financial reports to the hardscape and landscape data needed in order to reach high profits. They provide landscape and hardscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA's team of accountants are specialized within the hardscape and landscape industry, and you can visit them at cyclecpa.com, and for $200 off, mention the How to Hardscape podcast. Now back to our episode. With that being said, we're going to transition to our interviews with some hardscapers at this breakfast, asking them why they come to HNA. This will also be on our YouTube channel, I Am a Hardscaper. And then after this, we're going to transition to an interview with me and my wife, because she came with me on this trip, and I just wanted her perspective on this trip and what she was stepping into in this world of hardscape. So without further ado, let's get into those interviews here. Here with John from Signature Landscape Corp. Oh, John is up here. John, good to see you. John,
good morning for this morning. Yeah. Here you go.
Signature Landscape Corp.
You got it.
Why do you come to HNA every year?
Oh man, for this, to see everybody put a name with a handle, you know, and seeing you here making the journey 9-10 hours. That's awesome, man. That's great.
John, thanks so much.
No problem, sir.
Richard Carroll, RC Outdoor. Richard, why do you come to HNA each year?
I came because I knew that you were coming from Canada, and I didn't know you had a face.
That's not true.
And I wanted to see you in person and meet your wife. Yeah, but seriously, I come here to be with the guys, to be with the guys in the industry, to hang with them, talk about struggles, talk about challenges, how we're doing well, how we're not doing so well, and it's just good to touch base with all the community. So that's really why we come. There's not a lot of stuff that's out there that's new that we haven't seen. These guys like Mike, all the guys here, so loving it. Keep it up.
Richard, you're one of the first accounts I started following when I started in social media, and just the inspiration I get from you. One of the first people I reach out to for an interview as well. Wow. So I really appreciate you, man.
Appreciate that, man. You like my skin?
Yeah. Nick, Earthworks Landscaping. Nick, why do you come to HNA every year?
I just like the fellowship, all these guys. There's always a lot of cool equipment and stuff, obviously, but it's the networking for me.
Awesome. Yeah. Nick, really appreciate your friendship over the years. Finally get to see you in person, see your face. Appreciate you, man.
I like you too, man. Appreciate you.
Craig Scheller Outdoor Living here. Craig, why do you come to HNA every year?
Well, I've been coming since 2015, and I started coming for different reasons, education, see equipment, things like that. But the more I've come, and every year I say, I don't know if I'll go this year or not, but the community is what really drives my decision to come every year. We have pretty much everything we need in our company, so I just like the camaraderie and just seeing all the guys we connect with on Instagram and all the social media pages, and then coming and meeting them in person and talking and seeing how just talking real life, and it's a really good opportunity to do that. So
absolutely
I recommend it.
Craig, just seeing how your business has grown is really incredible, and the beautiful is an understatement, work that you do.
Thank you.
Evan, Pride Hardscape here. Evan, thanks so much.
Yeah.
You just caught me at a bad time, man. You made me all laugh. Okay. Evan, Pride Hardscape here. Evan, why do you come to HNA each year?
I come to HNA every year for this right here. Seeing all my guys that I talk to all over the country, all over the states, and also it's really nice seeing the new tech, to see what's coming out, what they have. I haven't really been able to see too much of the fair, so we're gonna go see it a lot today, but I really like this. This is awesome, especially with this guy putting the phone in my face.
Josh Sutton Outdoor. Josh, why do you come to HNA every year?
I just love the networking, get together with my brothers here. We're at the Bro Life Breakfast. Just awesome to get together. It's like a big family reunion, all of us in the industry. We work hard, we talk on Instagram all the time, and it's great to see their faces, your face, coming all the way from Canada. It's awesome.
Josh, I really appreciate the friendship online, and then finally I get to see your face, so thanks a lot, man.
Hope you're not disappointed in it.
It lived up and exceeded my expectations.
Awesome, I appreciate that. I've been exfoliating.
All right, here with Scott, Infinity Lawn and Landscape, or Infinity Landscape. It's coming.
Landscapes.
Affinity Landscapes. Scott, why do you come to HNA each year?
So I come to HNA to just kind of see all the new stuff they're coming out with, technologies, equipment, and mostly this, networking with the other guys in the industry, just see what they're doing that works, what they've tried, to kind of learn from them, and just see what might we be able to adapt into our company and our services and products and stuff that has worked out for them. So.
Can we drop a couple of things that you were just
talking to me about as we got to this Pro Life Breakfast, Moser, Dynascape, and then what's the decision process behind looking at those?
Yeah, so Moser, the measuring tool with your phone, and it just gets elevations and measurements, distances, and all that stuff, and it'll upload directly into Dynascape files. So it's supposed to make our estimating process and design process a lot more efficient and kind of seamless. It'll take a lot less measurements and just get the elevation changes, because all these projects have steps, walls, different levels, and that's what people want nowadays.
Awesome. Scott, thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Lens is disgusting.
Thank you.
Look how dirty that lens is, Mike. I thought you were a professional. What the hell's going on here?
Thanks, Caleb. Caleb Almond Landscape, Kid Contractor Podcast, Hardscape Academy. A little bit rude, Caleb.
I was going to say it's a little I'm a big deal. My truck repair guys call me. I'm a little bit of a big deal here, Mike. I don't know what to tell you.
Caleb, why do you come to HNA every year?
I've been coming to HNA and formerly GIE for over 10 years now. And initially it started out, to see equipment and see tools and softwares and things like that. And then over the years, since the community has built up, now it's to run, like, so many awesome people we run into and know now. We have the privilege to get to talk to. It's all about just meeting friends and making new friends, and like, it's all about people and networking now. It's the greatest privilege to be part of the hardscape community and the landscape community, to get them just run into people you've been talking to for years. And like, this is our first in-person time we've ever met, you and I. And we've DM'd for years and been on your podcast and vice versa. And like, I don't feel any disconnect.
Yeah.
It's it's like that initial awkward meeting. It's like, I feel like I've known you forever.
Absolutely.
And it's such a privilege to just get to talk to everybody. So that's why I'm here, man. It's the most wonderful thing.
I've even got your phone number so I can prank call you at any time. So it's great.
It's the greatest thing ever, dude. And you can prank me any day.
Andy, what was the biggest game changer at HNA? Nothing? All right. Weston Synced Up is here. Weston, we've been talking online for at least a couple of years now, so it's great to finally put a face to, instead of just talking through Zoom. But Weston, why do you come to HNA each year?
Well, we have Synced Up, obviously, so we're here to support our customers and get the Know Your Numbers message out there for this community. But speaking of which, the community is the biggest draw for me. Like, even if it weren't for the Synced Up thing, this community is fantastic. Like, I was just telling Jeremiah, I was talking with him how, owning a business, trying to solve problems you can feel really alone, and it's really, really awesome to gather here and realize, like, wow, there's 10 other people or 100 other people or 1,000 other people that are walking this same road, and there's just a camaraderie and a brotherhood that comes from that. And I love being a part of the Bro Life Breakfast and the event we had last night. Like, just to fuel that or give a place for that to happen is fantastic.
Awesome. Well, Weston, I really appreciate everything you do for the community, putting this on, helping with this, and so many other community events that you do. So thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
So I'm here with my wife, Natalie, who joined me on the trip to HNA this year. And I just kind of wanted to get her thoughts on the whole experience, since she came with me the whole time around the show floor, got to meet all the different hardscapers. Natalie, when we decided on Sunday night that we're going to go to HNA, what did you expect when we left? And what were you expecting of the show and of the people that we were going to meet?
I was really excited to be part of the community and the exhibition and convention. Obviously, I didn't have any idea about this show because obviously I'm not part of this industry at all, but I was super excited to be part of the community. I think that was the key, and that was the most fruitful result of this whole trip. And that's my honest answer. I didn't have any clue, but after this trip, I feel like I have clearer picture and detailed picture what your business is about and what you're surrounded by.
So with that, what would you say to a couple out there similar to us, where one of the partners is in a construction related field such as hardscaping and the other person is not? Would you recommend them to get more involved in the business somehow? Would you recommend them to go to one of these trade shows with them to learn a bit more? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, obviously, yes, definitely. I would recommend you to check it out and expose yourself to the new industry, because yes, it's a different industry, but you have different perspectives, right? Because obviously you have different industry background experience. So I think it's very complimenting for us to have this shared experience, because you have that hardscaping industry background. Obviously, that's your specialty and that's your expert industry and background. Whereas I do have diverse background of my own and of different industries. So I can definitely share different perspectives and opinions on XY that matters. So definitely added value and added experience for us that we could have as a couple. Yeah.
So definitely get more involved in the business in some way, whether that's even just like hands off and just kind of getting to know a bit more about the industry. Obviously helps in understanding one another a little bit better. And with that being said, our highlights from the trip, what are some things that come to mind, maybe like a top 3 or something that we can run through together and relive together from our time there? So Tuesday morning we left, we got in late Tuesday night, and we went to the show on Wednesday. It was a half day. We went Thursday for the full day, and then Friday just for the breakfast in the morning. But what are some highlights that really stick out from the show?
Number 1 is definitely the community. All of the business owners that we were so lucky to meet face to face, and like virtually, you wouldn't really have this type of energy or the vibes, but we were very lucky to meet every business owners and every of our friends in person and share those precious moments together. I think that was very precious moment, and I felt so blessed. We felt so blessed to meet those people with the same mindset and value, which is collaboration, and which is elevating each other, which is being there for each other and help each other, support each other. I think it's very blessed to surround ourselves with the like-minded people with the same value and mindset, and that was the confirming part for me. And yeah, we felt so blessed to meet every one of you guys in person, and that's number 1 factors. And number 2, I would say the exhibition and the panels, that the opportunity for us to learn their stories and their tips. I think that was another factor that stood out for me. And number 3, I would say, the outdoor events as well. So there were indoor exhibition and shows, and at the same time there were different business owners who have their booth outside. And the very first day was very sunny, and we were so fortunate to see the beautiful sky and also beautiful equipment and materials outside, and that was something that is different from other convention centers, because different industries have different products, obviously, but because considering the equipment and the materials, obviously, yeah, it was different when it comes to those outdoor exhibitions and outdoor show.
Okay, what about moments that really stuck out to you while we were there? Anything that you found funny, interesting, or times that you really enjoyed?
I really enjoyed having each personalized conversation with different friend of ours. And when I normally go through your story, like Instagram story or YouTube channel, I have no idea who you are. But now that we met everyone in person while I was at the convention center, yes, after this trip, when I checked your Instagram story, I was able to see, I know you. And I have like a clear picture and every person's heart and every person's vibes and energy. So if I use an analogy, maybe in the past it was just a blank white sketchbook, but now after this trip I would say it's very clear, mountaintop, sky, sunny, very clear vision of the sketchbook. So yeah, it was very funny that we bumped into one guy, and my normal question to all of the business owners was, so where's your office based out of? Because I was just curious, is it Canada based or American based? And one of the guys, he actually didn't know how to pronounce Mississauga in Canada, which is nearby Toronto, maybe like half an hour away. And he tried to spell it out, and M-I-S something, and
he said it sounds like Mississippi. It's like M-I-S, and then we said
it's Mississauga, yeah. And I totally get that. I totally understand, because for me, English is not my first language, and yes, I can speak English, but I learned it from back home, so I totally understand that. But that made us laugh a lot, so that was cool. And
then you did a similar thing to Antonio from Zeppa's. So we went for an event afterwards at Zeppa's, their beautiful shop yard space there, and you asked him the same thing.
Yeah, that was like autopilot mode. So where are you based out of?
And he says, right here. This is my shop.
It was a long day from the early morning all day long until like maybe 11:30 p.m. So yes, and it was a silly question, but I was just looking back, I was laughing, talking to Mikey.
That was the long day. That was Thursday, so that was from early morning, walking the show from 9 to 5.
No, actually it started from 8 o'clock. We went there at for the early morning panel. So that was from
right.
7:30ish, or we left our Airbnb at 7:30, I think, and we reached there around like 8. So
we didn't get back to our Airbnb till like 11:30 at night. So that was a really long day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not an excuse, but that was very hilarious. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where are you based out of? Come on, you're invited to my shop, Antonio, thank you for giving my this hilarious, silly question.
And then you really liked Richard from RC Outdoors' skin.
Yes.
Yes, and then you wanted to know his skincare routine.
Yes, I asked Mikey, why don't you ask his skincare routine? What kind of product he's using? His skin looked so milky and silky, Yeah, his skin looked perfect.
Turns out Richard doesn't have a skincare routine.
Yeah, he said freedom. And, the guy, the first night, I forgot his name, but he told you that, you look much cuter face to face.
That was Cruz.
Yeah.
Cruz came late, and we shook hands, and he said, "Oh, yeah." And he said, "Oh, you look much cuter in person."
Yeah.
And everybody laughed that was there.
Yeah, that was so funny.
So I've been bugging him about that.
Yeah. And the following day as well, we bugged him about that. Yeah.
Anything else that stands out?
I really loved Antonio's panel and fun activity like playing golf and also playing ping pong. It was activity based and also, mingling. I really loved the setting. And also, Sutton's breakfast at the campers parking lot. It was really good, mingling together, having the last catch up with everyone. The sky was beautiful as well, and that was our last day before we departed to Toronto. And every moment was really good, and I one thing, if I need to pick one, is the people. Every individual, every people that we met, it was memorable, unforgettable. I love their heart and their mindset and value. And yeah.
Natalie, what's more clear about my business, my industry, and any takeaways from the event itself?
I guess it applies to every industry and every business. It all comes down to people. You would love to have the partnership with the people with similar values and like-minded people. And it was very clear for me that Mikey is surrounded by people who has same vision and dreams. And ultimately, that is sharing back and giving back to the society and the community and also the business owners. And it's so fortunate to be that member and also to be that business owner, sharing the similar value, taking care of each other, uplifting each other, and also ultimately down the road for the long term, giving back to the society. And yes, it's all about people, and I'm so happy to confirm that Mikey is surrounded by the right people with the right mindset. And yeah, that's very what's the way to put it? It's a blessing. Yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to plug while you're here?
If you're interested in my podcast, you can check it out on Instagram, fitwell.to. So FIT, fitwell, WELL.to. And it's the platform sharing my spirituality journey and also the living word. And yes, I hope you like it. And thanks for checking it out in advance.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. Go check out Cycle CPA. If you're looking for bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, reach out to Cycle CPA at cyclecpa.com. Let them know How to Hardscape sent you for $200 off their services there. Just want to say thank you to each and every one of you that I got to meet at HNA, that took me out or talked to me, came up and introduced themselves. Chris from PermaEdge, you were amazing. Thank you so much. And many others. Now that I start naming them, it would be bad for me to leave anyone else out, but you definitely know who you are, and I really do appreciate you. And we look forward to meeting with you next week on the How to Hardscape podcast.